This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Today's show focuses on the fact that the signing of the Hertz deal added about $200 or 20% to the value of Tesla's stock. And it's being announced that Elon actually did a tweet where he indicated that the deal with Hertz remains unsigned. So as a result of these 2 points, the stock price dropped as much as 60 points this morning, even though it's starting to recover now. And we wanted to sort of go through some details on this show. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you'd like daily shows that help in evaluating where Tesla is going, etc., please take time to join us. We also wanted to invite you to like and subscribe, and also note that any comments made here are copyrighted, and therefore written permission is needed in order to use these comments in your show. So today is kind of interesting. As you know, Tesla stock price has been rising as much as 80 or 90 points a day over the last 5 or 6 trading days. One of the biggest catalysts for this has been the Hertz deal signed, or the Hertz deal that was negotiated. And we all thought it was signed based on the behavior we've seen coming in from the folks at Hertz. The reality is that the deal hasn't been signed. And so Elon had basically 4 points in the tweet, which I'll include at the end, or you can look it up. And his points were: number 1, the deal remains unsigned. Number 2, the tweet was a response to the Silicon Valley Tesla Owners Club, where they were thanking him for the Hertz deal. And he was responding to this because they were grateful for the increased stock price related to the Hertz deal. And so Elon pointed out to them that the deal is not signed, number 1. Number 2, the reason why Tesla is selling at full price as the same as what consumers would pay for that vehicle is very simply, there's a shortage of cars. So number 3, I'm kind of surprised, stunned here, because Hertz is a very big company, and usually there are provisions for, if you're going to back out, it's going to cost you money, but if you haven't signed it, you're therefore good to go. I'm concerned here, I have to say, because why the Hertz deal was big is that Elon makes a point of not sharing any data regarding Tesla's backlog. And when you have sort of one entity that's corporate buying 100,000 vehicles, you now have the potential for other corporations to go down the same road. So it's like basically a blueprint for the next deal, not just the Hertz one. So if it remains unsigned and it doesn't get signed, the other implied benefits, like, what was going to happen between Uber and Tesla, what was going to happen between Lyft and Hertz, or Lyft and another entity that needs to compete successfully with Uber. So there's all these shadow extra cars that were getting ready to be sold, and the blueprint was actually going to be in place, and I think part of the decision as to why the stock price was up. I have to say I'm a little bit kind of surprised, because when I heard about this deal, it didn't make sense. And the reason is that when Tesla sells cars, the amount it makes is the same consumer or a corporate customer, in this case Hertz. And so what I wasn't getting was, where exactly were these extra 100,000 cars going to come from, given that there's already a large number of people who are in line, and for months there's a backlog for Tesla. So we're now finding out the answer, which is there is a shortage, and Teslas are selling well, and Therefore, there isn't a lot of inventory immediately available. So let's look over on the Hertz side of the house. We actually watched a video this morning on CNBC from Mark Fields, the current CEO of Hertz, who was a former CEO of Ford. And over the last couple of years since he was fired by Ford, he's been sitting at TPG Partners as a partner working out of home, but he's done a number of CNBC talks related to the structure of the auto industry, Tesla, and other things in that realm. What I found interesting here is that he, I think he's been brewing on how to do business with Tesla for a long time, and going to Hertz, I think part of the game was this. So the impression he gave was that basically one of the ways that Hertz is going to grow and succeed going forward was to expand into the whole EV space and provide a blueprint and help other possible companies out there that have to add EVs to their fleets by adding charging facilities, all the Hertz locations, and then helping other fleets, in this acquisition and implementation of EVs within their fleet operations. So I think I was impressed. It's a fairly comprehensive effort to help grow the EV. So the spirit of kind of what they're doing and how it would impact Tesla actually fits sort of the corporate goals that Tesla might have. I would say that there's, based on Elon's comment and not stating when he's going to sign that deal, I have a feeling right now that we went from about what felt like a 99% done deal to we're now probably in a 60 to 70% done deal zone when it comes to Tesla. And the reason is that it looks like Hertz has negotiated but an unsigned deal, and then they've gone ahead and revealed the further plans that they have with the vehicles that they're acquiring before it was appropriate. And it sort of brings up an interesting question, which is Elon/Tesla have had corporate policy going for a while in terms of what they want to do. And they now have an opportunity to review what the future plans are by Hertz. And those future plans may not be consistent with the corporate strategy or goals that Elon has in mind. And so I think this could end up kind of ugly because Elon's not the kind of person to just do what people tell him. He does what he wants. So I'm not saying it's a total dead deal, but I would say that instead of it being 100% or 99% done deal, this is more like a 60, 70% done deal, which means there's a chance that it could actually be bailed on by Tesla. I guess this isn't completely horrible because I actually went online and looked in DC, for example. They do have a limited number of Model 3s in their fleet, and I didn't check other cities. And when you try to book them, instead of being able to book, you keep getting a vehicle not available in the fleet currently. Try to find dates that might work. And I kept pushing out 1, 2, 3, 4 months, and no dates came open for when the vehicle might be able to be rented. I found this strange because if you look at the ads that Hertz started running recently, they're claiming already that they already have Teslas on site and that they're renting them. And so, I thought that was really strange too, that they would be touting stuff that isn't fully baked yet. So very, very surprising, disappointing, and we'll definitely keep you abreast of what's going on with this one. But in general, though, I would say that, I kind of been keeping an eye on the stock in pre-market, and it was down, let's say, $60, and now it's down $45. Again, Elon is saying that we can't lower prices or cut prices because there's a shortage of vehicles, despite the fact that we have new production coming on to expand the production footprint. Now, there's something else that this is a data point, and I'm looking forward to your comments on this one, is that, we've done some visual as well as talk with people at the factory, etc. And the strangest thing is going on, which is Tesla has so storage facilities in a place called Lathrop, California, parking lot full. They have storage facilities at the racetrack at Fremont, parking lot full. You get my drift? Well, all kinds of cars everywhere. So the question I was asking was, well, wait a second, at the point of the quarter we're in right now, should those cars be getting on boats? That way, by the end of the quarter, they've arrived in European destinations, etc. And what we were told was that none of those cars are going to Europe because China has blown up. So they did 56,000 vehicles this past month. And evidently, the target is 70,000 vehicles for October. So there's no need for vehicles to come out of Fremont. They're coming out of China. So therefore, all those cars will go domestically. Now, the way that the map rolls out, the California half of the country obviously is a truck to destination from Fremont. And then the eastern half of the country is a train to destination. So we're assuming here then that what's going to happen is that all those cars are going to stay domestic to meet orders that are domestic, which is great. But what I'm not understanding is why such a backlog. The argument you could make is that there's a limited number of trucks, and therefore you can't get those things out, fast enough. But I just think it's weird if you're that backlogged, why would you allow them to build up as they have versus getting them out? And again, the only argument that I can make there is you're overloaded in terms of number of trucks. So you almost can't produce right now because you ain't got no place to put new production off those trucks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this. So, at any rate, Elon, as the stock price rises, has been known to tank the stock in this fashion. I think it lends itself to a wild day of investing and trading for Tesla. There are people that couldn't get in because the stock had spiked too much for them that may be looking to get back in and nibble some. There are others that have made some money that may be looking to get out and protect their profits rather than having sudden bad Elon news affect things. The other thing, I think is a possibility, and I think, which is what's going on with the stock this morning, is the bot effect, where when there's news and that news is negative, the bots are taught to sell out everything, and then the managers can come back in and incrementally buy back in once it's found out that the coast is clear. So there's a possibility of a Tesla, neutral to up today. There's a possibility of Tesla neutral to down today. I think it's all on the table, and we'll only find out as we get into the trading day. So we look forward to updating you on this, but it's not happy news, but hopefully it works out to the favor of Tesla, that people realize that the backlogs they're in mean that the company's doing great, and it's just a matter of who gets the cars that are already being produced, and it's under a shortage situation, which shouldn't affect things at all. At any rate, this ends our formal comments about Tesla. Next, we'll be getting into our health tips. Just a reminder, we have some SpaceX shares if there's interest. We also wanted to remind you this is a copyrighted broadcast. We also wanted to encourage you to like and subscribe and join us on Patreon if you'd like better help in your investing trading ideas. And then finally, the health tip of emphasis today is don't forget, do not go to bed within 2 hours of eating, preferably 4, to let the food fully digest and therefore be helpful in your overall health. Oh. Thanks once again for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, German, au revoir, French, Lehitro, Hebrew, Choda Hafez, Farsi, Zdravstvuyte, Russian, Ni Hao Ma, Chinese, Konbanwa, Japanese, Heido, Swedish, Namaste, Hindi, and wanted to also encourage you to take time to like and subscribe. Heido, our friends in Sweden, and good day, Ashante, or Asante, Swahili, and have a great day. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us.